Hello everyone, my name is John, and I've been playing the banjo for about 2.5 years now. And this is Banjo's Anonymous. No, I really like playing it, and after about a year and a half, I was able to play like this. And if you want to know my secrets, I'm about to tell you them right now. I accomplish them in two ways: through the power of muscle memory and taking even the most complicated songs and slowing them down so that they're very simple. And with that, onto the video. Hello everyone, this is my tutorial on how I play songs, both in regards to the physical aspects of playing an instrument and the memorization of the song itself. This is a concept I'm going to introduce here. It's called muscle memory, and I really wish somebody would told me about this quite a while ago, because it's over the last couple of months after I figured that that's how we play. It's really helped me out immensely to reduce errors and to be able to play more difficult things and to play faster, and also reduce the amount of time it takes to learn something. The concept is called muscle memory, and I came across this quite by accident, trying to solve these cubes in as quickly as possible. I'm going to explain this cube real briefly here. There's algorithms to solve these cubes. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them, and it's hard to remember them all. And an algorithm can contain anywhere from 2 to 15 moves to complete a desired task on the cube, like this. That solved part of it, and that finished it for me. And I thought, how in the world do these guys remember all these algorithms that depend on how the cube is scrambled initially to solve these cubes in record time? And this is how they do it. They'll take one algorithm and learn one a day max. So they'll practice real slow to learn the algorithm initially. And then once they get it figured out, they kind of speed it up to the point where their mind doesn't have to think about it anymore. They just do it. For this, I couldn't tell you what I'm doing. I just do it. I don't know what the moves are anymore. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But that's how they remember hundreds and hundreds of algorithms to solve cubes. And it's much like learning a song. People ask me, how do I get my fingers to move so quickly, and how do I remember all the notes? Like when I play the banjo, there's a lot of notes, and to be truthful, I don't remember them all, at least not consciously. And that's what I want to tell you about. I want to develop your practice time so that we can take advantage of the concept of muscle memory, because that's the way we play all the time. But now that you're aware that's how we play, we can take advantage of that and reduce the amount of time it takes to learn something and increase your accuracy and all the other things I mentioned before. And with that, let's get started. Okay, I forgot to mention a few things earlier. First of all, I'm not a banjo master, I'm not a drum master, I'm not anything a master of other than being me. But this helped me quite a bit, and I thought I'd make a video like this to help you. This is just one way, this is the way I learn. You can take it or leave it. If you think I'm a stupid idiot and you hate me, go right ahead and hate me, I don't care. Also, just think of all the things that your body does every day, all the simple tasks. Let's say you want to pour a glass of milk. We pull the milk out of the fridge and we get ourselves a glass, we pour it. Let's say we want to stand on one leg. Just think of all the calculations that your brain has to do in order for you to figure that out. And if our brain can figure out all those tiny little calculations to do that, our body can figure out how to play a single note on a fretboard. And that leads me to believe that anybody can play an instrument. It might take you a little more time to learn, but if you can move your body to perform everyday tasks, you can do that. And also, the point of this is not to simply learn it so that we can forget about it and we can just play it so brainless that we don't have to remember anything anymore. The point is to run the inconsequential details in the background so that our conscious mind can come up more creative, focus on more important things, like, am I playing in Thai? What chord am I in? Where is the song going to go? What's the next chord? Let's say I want to internalize a vast amount of music theory or licks or whatnot. That's how we do it. At least that's what I'm assuming that's how it's done. Okay, and with that said, now we can get started. The knowledge muscle memory is very important when we start practicing, because now that we understand that's how our brain operates and that's how we learn things, we can adjust our practice time to suit our learning habits. Okay. Here's a mistake that a lot of people make all the time. Let's say I'm learning a new song. This happens to be one I'm learning right now. This is a banjo bend song. This is the intro. Okay. And in the process, we make all kinds of mistakes. And then maybe after the 30th or 50th time, we actually get it kind of somewhat right. And then we decided, I spent too much time on this, I'm done playing for today. I know how to play it now. What have you actually learned in this practice session? We spent over 90% of our time learning how to play it incorrectly. We spent no time trying to introduce the right movements of our fingers to get it all synced up and ready to play the correct way. So over 90% of the time we've been practicing how to fail at playing banjo. Okay, that's mistake number one. Now, here's mistake number two. Let's say we kind of understand how to play it. We know how to play it really slow without mistakes. So eventually we get to the point where we're kind of comfortable. We kind of want to speed it up a little bit, and we're real antsy. We're masculine, and we want to get everything done right now. And we realize we make a bunch of mistakes. That's mistake number two, is because even though we know how to play it right slowly, we want to gradually progress so that we can actually play it correctly fast. All right? We want to introduce as few errors as possible into our playing at any time so that we're not practicing to fail. Okay? And with that, we're on to the next part. Okay, so now I know this isn't a banjo anymore. This is a drums and practice pad. Anybody can understand sticks hitting a piece of wood and that thing. So that's why I chose this to start off with. And also, it goes to show that this method can be used for anything you want to, any instrument you want to try to play, from piano to guitar to banjo to anything requiring physical tasks. Okay, I was listening to a Randy Core song today, and it had drums in it, which I'm very happy. If anybody's out there listening that plays bluegrass, more drums and bluegrass, please. Okay, I'm gonna play that song for you now.
John Henry threw staggerly in the river. Then he said, I've got to sing, so to say. He broke out in a song.
It's a really fast song. If you're counting eighth notes, it'd be 274 beats a minute, or 137, which I figured out earlier today. And when I was playing it, I was trying to play along to it. I noticed I was making mistakes. My right side of the body wanted to do the same task all the time, and I got to separate the two, and it was really hard at that speed to play it. And I want to introduce as few errors into my playing as possible. So by continuing to play it wrong, I was teaching my body to do it wrong, and therefore set myself up to fail. Okay, now I want to use the power of muscle memory to get this right, so that when I go back and play it, I can do it right. Okay, I want to play this so slow that it's impossible to screw up. Okay, essentially what I'm doing is I'm playing really slow so that in the future I can play it fast. Okay, and I have to describe what a train beat is now. It is alternating patterns on my right and left hand in eighth notes at 264 beats a minute. Be something like that. And then on the ones and threes, I'm going to hit the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the twos and fours, I want to accent this note. More so than all the rest. Alright? And when I'm doing this, when I first starting this, let's pretend I've never ever played a train beat in my entire life. I want to focus, I want to try playing this really slow so that I get all the factors in, and I'm doing everything the exact right way, okay? I want to make sure that when I'm hitting this bass drum, that I'm hitting this note at exactly the same time, and then when I get to that 4, I'm hitting it, and I want to make sure that my 4, or my 2 and 4s are louder than the rest of the notes I play, so that there's actually a contrast between them, and also that I'm holding the sticks right. Everything, if you play drums, you want to do everything right. Train beats are a very finesse thing. It's like jazz or anything. It's like pretty much like New Orleans second line drumming. It's very difficult to do with finesse, okay? So now I'm going to try practicing really slowly. And now I can use my mind to figure out if I have any flaws in it, and I can perfect that, which hopefully I didn't right there. And then eventually want to speed it up. So and then after a while, it gets part of into your memory, so you can start playing it fast. And then what you want to do is, now that you got it ingrained in your mind, in your muscle memory, you don't have to think about it anymore. Now we can focus our conscious memory into playing, adding the next level, which would be playing to a metronome, and making sure we're doing everything up to speed and right and in time. And then we'll slowly progress to that until I can get to the point where I can play 137 beats a minute or 274 with no errors. And with that, on to the next task with the banjo. Alright, now I'm going to go into more detail as to how I play a song on a stringed instrument and how I remember a song. Like before, when I was talking about the Rubik's Cube and how they memorize it, they use the power of muscle memory to remember algorithms. I'm going to use the power of muscle memory to remember a song. Okay? And the very first thing we do before we even get started playing the banjo is we want to take our CD or whatever we got the song played in. We want to listen to it, and we want to follow along in our tab or our sheet music and go through it. We kind of want to get an idea as to what the song sounds like, what the various parts are, what the rhythms are, just basic idea of the song. And then what I want to do is break it up into chunks. You can break it up into certain phrases or whatnot, so that we can practice each individual chunk, assuming that if it's difficult, we really want to practice those parts, and the ones that we don't really need to practice too much because they're pretty standard, we don't have to spend as much time on them. Okay, and that's kind of the point of this muscle memory thing. We want to take advantage of less practice time, more results. All right. So now what I got, I don't know the song. This is the Banjo Bend song. I'm trying to learn the end. I truthfully haven't figured this part out yet. I know what the notes are, and that's about as far as I've gotten at the end. All right, this is the last chunk I'm trying to learn. What I want to do in this process, the very first thing that I want to do is figure out what the notes are from reading the piece of paper and kind of memorize them, and put them, store them in our conscious memory for now. And then along the way, I want to figure out the best way of doing this as far as my right hand, in my left hand. Make sure we tab or finger everything the correct way. Not always the easiest way, but the best way of playing it so that we can play it fast. And right now it might not be the easiest way, but eventually it will become the easiest way if you just humor yourself and do things the right way. Originally, we want to teach our body the right way to do it right away. Okay, and as far as our right hand as well. And we also want to make sure we get all the notes sounding nice and clear. And maybe you want to accent a few. If you want to, just practice that when we play it really slow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to practice this little bit. I'm screwing it up already. And you notice that was really slow. That was the fastest I could play it. It's kind of like watching a fishing show. My videos where I'm playing quick, or I'm playing a difficult song, you don't see all the hours I spend practicing. Much like a fishing show, they don't show the parts where they're not catching any fish. So this is the part. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to practice just this last phrase for about 5 minutes at a slow pace over and over again so that I don't make any mistakes like I did on the drums. And I'm going to shut the camera off and I'll resume from there. Alright, it's been 5 minutes now. And I was practicing nice and slow over and over again, playing the same thing. So I'm going to try to, maybe I can demonstrate my progress here. And you notice I can play it much faster now, and I don't have to think about it quite as much anymore. And once you get that part down, you might want to try adding to the next level, play with a metronome. All right, and then once you're done trying, once you're getting close to memorizing all the parts, all the different chunks, with with making virtually no errors in it, we want to play all the chunks in a row and learn the song as a whole, and then do that over and over again, making no errors, playing it as slow as we have to, so we don't have to play any errors in it, and do that over and over again until we get it right, and then we can play it up really fast if we want. All right, and that's how I do it. Okay, it may not make much sense, but that's how I do it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna have some tips now. Okay. Now here's tip number 1. All right. My practice time when I practice seems to make a big effect on my progress. For instance, right now I'm practicing. It is 11:30 at night. I practice before I go to bed, and for some strange reason, my body has the ability to learn things overnight. I noticed this when I'm a bit of a freak of nature. I like to unicycle. My good friend of mine was the national champ. And I would sit there and I would try these tricks over and over again. And then magically the next day, I was able to do them. I don't know how it works. Your brain figures it out overnight. So I try to practice as close to bedtime as I can. That's tip number 1. All right, here's tip number 2. What we want to do is once we get it familiar, so we can play the whole song, we want to make sure that it's in our subconscious and we can play it without thinking about it. We want to make sure that it's in time, and that's a hard thing to do. So get a metronome. That's tip number 2. Or you can play along with the song. And when you play along with the song, you get an idea of what the song is supposed to sound like. And you try playing like that. Tip number 3. What you want to do is film yourself. And this could be kind of hard because it's a little bit embarrassing watching yourself play. And if you're a big weenie like I am, you don't have to show your face. What I want to do is when I step away from the process of actual playing and I watch the video, I can pick up on mistakes, and I want to pick up on these mistakes as soon as I can so that I don't commit them into muscle memory, really deep into muscle memory. And once we got an error so deep in there, it comes 10 times harder to reverse it than it would be just to play it right the first time. And that is tip number 3. All right, here's tip number 5. When you're playing this stuff, try to bear in mind that we want to be able to compose our own music at some point. So we kind of want to make sure that when we're playing a song, that we kind of understand what the song is about as far as musically, as far as music theory goes, like what chord we were in, what licks did we play when we were in that chord, and that sort of thing. This method can be used to internalize vast amounts of theories and scales and chords and all sorts of whatnot. I watched a video it was a kind of neat video on Bela Fleck. It was the Bach Project or something like that. And he was talking about Bach and how he played all the time, and then Bela Fleck would internalize this so that he could try to create his own perpetual motion lines from it. Well, alright, now we're done. Subscribe if you like, watch my other videos if you like, and I'm going to play one for you now just to make this video even longer than it had to be. Alright, see you later.